Welcome to ITPA News, bringing you a little bit of truth and a little bit of inspiration. Welcome back to ITPA News, bringing you a little bit of truth and a little bit of inspiration. Today, I'm very, very excited. I had a wonderful interview with Quentin Brown. He's a Marine, former Marine. He is now a current firefighter in the Cleveland, Medina, and Copley area. This guy, amazing. United States Marine Forces Special Operations Command, now called Marine Raiders. And what that means, he was serious business. During this interview, Quentin dropped a lot of great gems. So parents, teachers, family, and friends, please let your children, let the youth watch this interview and listen to a lot of the information that Quentin brought to the table and brought to light. I wanted to create this space at ITPA News to highlight our everyday heroes and go against the villainization of what the mainstream media shows us. Will Smith said in his song on Joyner Lucas's song, Will, he was talking about Will was his idol and his role model. Will Smith said it best. Not all heroes wear capes. Quentin Brown he's that. He doesn't wear a cape, but he risked his life for our country, and he's risking his life every day now as a firefighter. He's an everyday hero. He deserves recognition. He deserves respect, and he deserves for his message to be out there. And I'm happy I can get that out there for him. So without further ado, let's jump into this interview. All right, Quentin, this is Quentin Brown. Thank you for joining ITPA News, and welcome. How many years were you in the service?
8 years.
8 years. And what was your rank, and how did you achieve that rank?
I reached the rank of staff sergeant, which is equivalent to E6 in the other branches. That's kind of a tough open question, but just through a lot of discipline, hard work, and always trying to rise to the occasion, essentially.
Discipline and hard work, man. If I haven't said that to my students and my athletes, I hope you guys heard that out there.
You're about to hear a lot more of that from me.
So you talked about having a warrior's heart. Dive more into that, because I think having that warrior's heart can be applied to life.
So, the warrior's heart. Yeah, I've always had that kind of default aggressive mentality. That's a Jocko Willink quote. I'm going to quote him a lot too.
Yeah.
Default aggressive, just go and get after it sort of thing. And I've always been very good at compartmentalizing, sometimes even to a fault. And the way I'll kind of sum that up is I had a very, very close high school friend and my best friend from high school. We were all deployed to Afghanistan together. My best friend and my other friend were in a different unit than I was. And my good friend was killed by a sniper. And my best friend actually was able to let me know about it before they closed communications. I was pretty wrecked from that. However, I still did my job to the best of my capability, and I got over it. And unfortunately, sometimes with military service, guys and girls tend to do that. We tend to compartmentalize, and you have to in the moment, but you have to revisit those feelings and deal with that head on.
How did you get over those emotions?
But I actually sought out professional help. I sought out help with my family and friends support network. And, I was able to overcome it, and I'm definitely stronger on the other side. So, I hear a lot of people talk about post-traumatic stress syndrome, but no one, it's very rare that you ever hear anybody talk about post-traumatic strength. You know what I mean? So
strength.
Yeah, you experience a crack, in your psyche, but if you work on it, if you confront it head on, you create a weld, and it becomes even stronger than you were before. So, I think that's an important thing to point out. And, again, it just as like a little PSA, if anybody's experiencing, psychological issues, go seek professional help. If you're having a medical issue, you'd go see a, doctor of medicine. Same thing here. If you're having psychiatric issues, go seek psychiatric help.
I think it's important for multicultural education for those students to see. I know when I was growing up, we had the black GI Joe, and that,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
talk to me about how you feel about that.
Numerically, statistically, are we underrepresented? Sure. But numerically and statistically, are we underrepresented in the United States itself? Absolutely.
Mm,
That's why we're minorities, you know.
yeah,
However, that being said, do I feel we're underrepresented in spirit? Absolutely not. A funny saying we have in the Marine Corps is, there are no black Marines, there are no white Marines, there's just green Marines. You're either dark green, light green, and it's not a politically savvy term these days, but it was one that a lot of Marines adhered to, and we just carried on with the plan of the day. Doesn't matter what you look like, what your religion, background, whatever.
Talk to me about communication, because like you said, communication is extremely important. And then two, we how do we pull that together in society today?
What I think needs to happen in the civilian world is people need to take extreme ownership.
Jocko.
Jocko all day. Um, so it's really such a all-encompassing thing, because if you truly understand it, if you truly, focus on yourself and say, okay, how can I be a better version of myself? Well, it's naturally going to lead itself to help serve other people, because in order to spread good, you have to help serve other people. And 90% of the time, I would say, if there's a problem, it's because two sides aren't listening to each other, or one side isn't listening to the other.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the wisest things you can say is, I don't know. I don't know what this is about. Hey, person who's intimately familiar with this, explain this to me.
Conversation.
Explain your
Yes.
side.
Wow.
And in order to adequately problem solve with another person, it is not possible to separate emotion from that person or from their problem. How do we adequately solve this problem? First, let me adequately understand you and advocate for you. Like I said, so emotionally attached, and they can't slow down, stifle their emotions a little bit on their side. And again, you can't stifle somebody else's emotion. You have to stifle your own
Mm, that's
and
good.
be introspective and say, okay, how can I better understand this person? How can I better understand the problem?
If you could go back and tell your younger self three things, what would you tell him?
You don't know everything. And in fact, you probably know nothing. Um, so keep your mouth shut and your ears, eyes, and mind open to
Mm,
new things, open to new experiences, open to being changed.
mhm.
Read, read everything you can get your hands on. Um, I think that people, when they read, it improves their intelligence, it improves their cognition, and for that matter, write too. After you've read, write. That it will expand your mind and expand your creativity. Learning without reading, I'm not going to say is empty, but it's close. Without the reading and understanding the why, understanding the science, understanding the history, understanding the mathematics of things, um, it'll only be a half truth to you. Directly quoting Jocko, discipline equals freedom.
Mm,
So discipline in all things. Now, again, I want to, preface this with saying I'm not saying be a robot. Don't do that. If you're going to do something, be default aggressive. go forward and crush it to the best of your ability. If you fall short, so what? So what? At least you've learned. One of the biggest things with discipline equals freedom for me, is not procrastinating.
Mm,
And I think a lot of people have that issue of procrastination being a killer. But if you make use of your time adequately, no one can ever rob you of that,
mhm,
right? And when you realize that time is life, and then you think about it, and I mean, you get this whole paradigm shift, right? And then you realize, oh man, when I'm wasting time, I am wasting my life.
mm.
Time wasted is life wasted. And
That's
to think
powerful.
about that, if someone were to take all the minutes, seconds, and hours that you wasted just doing nothing that's not good for you, if someone stacked up all those seconds, minutes, hours in front of you, I promise you'd probably pass out
Yeah. Yep.
because of all the life you just wasted. Um, and if you don't mind, I'll do a fourth thing,
Oh,
actually.
absolutely.
Um, so the last thing I would tell myself is, directly another Jocko quote is good. Just that word, good. I mean, I have it on my watch. I don't know if you can see that there.
Yeah.
Oh, where is it?
Yep.
There we go. So what that means, no matter what happens in your life, whether it be tragedy, triumph, whatever, find the good. And I don't mean to be, Mr. Positive, but find the good. Like Jocko says, if you're doing some jujitsu, you get tapped out. Hey, good, you learned.
Yeah.
If you studied hard, you worked hard. For instance, I'll give you an example of my own. Um, I was studying for a paramedic exam, on Cleveland Fire, and I missed it by two questions. Two questions. Infuriating.
Mm,
But I said, good. Now I get to learn the material better. I
mm.
get to work hard and understand the material that much better. And this time around, I know I'm going to pass. No question about it.
Yeah.
And it's going to make me a better medic.
Yep.
You know, so to give a little piece of fiction here from, what was it, Batman, the last Christopher Nolan Batman, where he had to fight Bane.
Oh.
And Bane says, success has defeated you, victory has defeated you. And it's 100% true. Batman was so used to fighting the easy fights,
Yeah.
kicking criminals' butts all over Gotham. And, when he actually has to fight someone that's about their business, he got his tail kicked.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Victory defeated him. He got soft. You gotta be getting after it all the time. And that'll bring me back to discipline equals freedom. Get after it.
Wow. What an amazing interview full of great information. And that was just a few clips from the interview. The full interview can be found in the links in the post. Just to recap and highlight some key gems. One, you can't stifle someone else's emotions. You can only stifle your own. And this directly applies to today's climate. We have to listen to each other and truly try to understand each other, understand our differences, our pain, our struggle, and work together for resolutions. Two, servant leadership. That's the type of leadership I try to provide. Leading by example, but also leading by removing unnecessary obstacles or lightening the load of others to help achieve the goal. I'm going to give and do what I can, not so you can give back to me, but because it's the right thing to do. Three, we have to take extreme ownership over ourselves. That takes into account not only today's issues, but our past transgressions. Own our responsibilities and mistakes. No excuses. Four, to the youth and adults too, don't procrastinate. Be default aggressive and attack your goals head on. Read everything you can get your hands on and write about it. Grow your mind. Number five, be disciplined. Discipline equals freedom, and it'll open up so much more time and opportunity. And last but not least, remember, good. Learn from your mistakes and learn from your successes. That's all for this broadcast of ITPA News. Until next time, love. It's the movement, ITPA. Intentional talk, purposeful action.